Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Much to share with you this evening. The hush money trial of Donald Trump took a strange and tragic twist today, and a series of turns overshadowed, upstaged, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, by a man who set himself on fire outside the courthouse. We have information on that tonight. We have his final words in writing and information on the pamphlets he was handing out just before he set himself ablaze, which may give us some indication as to what his motivations were. Why did he do it? And why are we seeing so much of this kind of self-harm? These suicides. We'll take a look at it tonight. Trump in court, we'll take a look at that as well and see where that's going. It looks like they're set to begin opening arguments on Monday. Car thieves in Canada. Big issue, growing problem. Car theft in Montreal. We're now hearing that young people as young as 15 are being recruited to steal vehicles, and if things go wrong, the organized criminals who recruit them sometimes torture them. We'll tell you about that as well. And then, of course, there's the aftermath of last night's disturbing situation, escalating situation between Israel and Iran, where we saw sort of an attack, a response from Israel against Iran. And what are we getting on the other side of that now? We're getting Iran mocking Israel, egging them on, so to speak. Dangerous times, strange times. And once again, here we are on this 19th day of April 2024, where truth is still stranger than fiction, it seems. We'll dig into that, try to make sense of it on the other side of this.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
So I'll tell you off the top that we will be leaving YouTube fairly shortly so that we can speak freely about some of this content we have for you tonight, specifically the story about the man who set himself on fire. Did very sensitive information. I don't want any problems on YouTube, and I have stuff to share with you that I'm afraid they just won't be comfortable with. So their platform, maybe not the place to share that information. If you are interested in the real story, the inside scoop, and I do have some interesting stuff to share with you. I don't know if you're going to be seeing it in very many other places later on. You'll have to go over to Rumble. Let me get you the link for the Rumble channel now so that you're prepared to make the transition over to our Rumble channel. And I'll give you the link directly to tonight's broadcast on our main Rumble channel. I'll go in here into the comments section, into the chat, and here is the link. I'm typing it out for the Maverick Rumble channel. I also have more information on the person who did the same thing. He set himself on fire out in Red Deer, Alberta at a college. And thanks to one of our contributors out there, a friend of mine, Mr. John, who put some feelers out. We have more information on that tonight, so I'll share that with you as well. And it goes far beyond what police have released, I'll tell you. And hopefully that will help us make sense of this as well. There's the Rumble link again. So, yeah, I don't know. The rules on YouTube change all the time, and anything really sensitive. I mean, there's so many minefields with this story that I see Peter in the chat saying, yeah, you know, can't talk about that, can't talk about this guy. Yeah, because it's political, it's potentially has religious overtones, it's conspiratorial, it's violent, it involves a suicide, so I can't. There are just many aspects to this that I just can't share here for fear of being accused of something that I'm really not going to be guilty of, because the intent and the public service that I'm providing is constructive. But we'll get into it over on Rumble. I'll warn you before we sign off. It all started today, though, in Manhattan with the Trump trial. Here's the latest from the courtroom. Opening statements are on the horizon for Donald Trump's historic criminal trial. The jury, now complete, is all set to kick off proceedings next week. It has been, of course, a day packed with drama. Emotion is running high and unexpected events. As I just told you, Judge Juan Merchan declared, "We're going to have opening statements on Monday morning. This trial is starting." After securing the final 5 alternate jurors needed, the panel stands at 12 jurors and 6 alternates, making history as the first ever criminal trial of a former president. A sad day for America, I would say. Just having to go down this road at all, and what they're doing with Donald Trump, I would say, is a black mark on the country and the democratic process. The selection process was no walk in the park, taking 4 intense days to find 18 jurors. Tears were shed, anxiety ran high among prospective jurors, reflecting the gravity of the case. Some were excused due to their personal struggles with impartiality or anxiety. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, as I told you, this terrible, tragic, chilling incident unfolded. A man whose identity I will share with you when we switch channels, set himself on fire. Reports suggest they're not just suggesting, he was distributing pamphlets on a conspiracy involving cryptocurrency, but it goes beyond that, and I have the information that extends beyond his cryptocurrency conspiracy that the other mainstream media is reporting on tonight. So Trump's legal team, in a parallel battle, sought a trial delay, arguing for a change of venue away from Manhattan, Trump's former stomping ground. However, The judge swiftly denied the request, emphasizing the importance of honoring the selected jury. The jury itself represents a diverse cross-section of New Yorkers, including an unemployed art enthusiast, an audio professional, a contract specialist, and more. Trump's attention seemed fixed on potential jurors whose political leanings remained ambiguous. As the day wore on, emotions continued to run high. Some jurors shared deeply personal experiences, while others grappled with the weight of their responsibilities. Trump himself expressed frustration, decrying the trial's pace and restrictions on his speech. In fact, we have Donald Trump queued up for you. Here's what he had to say after the jury was finally selected. This is outside the courthouse.
The whole world is watching this hoax. You got a DA that's out of control. You have a judge that's highly conflicted. The whole thing is a mess, and you have the leading candidate and leading crooked Joe Biden by a lot. He's the one that should be in trial. He's a crook. You got a crooked president. He should be in trial with all the stuff he's done and his family. He should be in trial.
So that's Trump's reaction outside the courthouse today. Trial will get underway, opening arguments on Monday. Now I'm going to save the information on the man who set himself on fire until we'll get to it shortly, but we'll get through some of this other information that we can still deal with here on YouTube while we're able to. We have pictures here of the suspects who have been arrested in connection with that gold heist at Toronto Pearson Airport about a year ago. Here, I'll bring up their mugshots. Thing is, they're smiling. Why are they smiling? Well, Pierre Poilievre says that it's because of Justin Trudeau's light touch with criminals. Here they are. These are the guys accused of that huge gold heist. Prasesh Paramalingam, 35 years old, from Brampton. Accessory after the fact of an indictable offense, firearms trafficking, aiding and abetting, conspiracy, and has U.S. indictment charges. Parmpal Sidhu, 54-year-old male from Brampton, Air Canada employee, theft over $5,000, conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. Ali Raza, 37-year-old male from Toronto, possession of property obtained by crime. Emmett Gelada, 40-year-old male from Oakville, possession of property obtained by crime ×2, theft over $5,000, conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. And Ahmad Chowdhury, 43-year-old male from Georgetown, accessory after the fact of indictable offense. Pierre Poilievre posting, why are these gold thieves smiling 48 hours after their arrest? Because Justin Trudeau's catch and release laws let them out on bail. Well, they're not off the hook. Not at all. Then we had the situation overnight with this attack, on Israel. Sorry, on Iran. Israel, I guess, responding. And, man, I'll tell you, things seem to be getting crazy last night. It looked like we were right on the edge of World War III. Very wide, conflicting reports from various media sources. In the end, I think it was, for me anyway, somewhat revealing. with the initial attack happening, it looked like drones were sent in. I saw reports online saying this was a massive attack by Israel against Iran, even though we've seen the United States saying that they would not support any kind of an offensive strike against Iran. But everyone knew that something was going to happen. And so there it was last night. After we signed off, it all sort of started to unfold. And we ran video that appears to be authentic of drones being shot at, or at least flashes of anti-aircraft fire in the sky over Iran. I did post that stuff on Twitter last night, which we were able to obtain. But how serious was the attack? Well, it depends on which side you want to listen to. In the end, there were reports from every media outlet. ABC News initially saying, that Iran had responded, that it was a substantial attack, that there were missiles involved. That's what I was hearing from, many Western media outlets. BBC, CBS reporting that there were missile strikes inside Iran. Iranian media on the flip side of that saying, oh no, like 3 drones were shot down. That's all there was. Saying that really nothing to see here, folks, and a lot of mocking going on actually as a result. In fact, I can show you some of what's coming out even today. Let's just take a look. Let's just do a little Twitter scroll, and I think you'll see what I mean. So this is fresh. I haven't vetted this at all. This is just going to Twitter, typing in Iran, and here's what we're getting. Video from the scene following airstrikes in Babylon at what was Kalsu base of the Iran-backed. Okay, so you're getting a mix of stuff. Let me bring this up. So Iran said last night, pro-Iranian influencers, online streamers, some even government funded media outlets saying that there was really no damage, nothing got through, that they shot down 99.9999999% of everything coming in from Israel. The U.S., the United States, officials at the U.S. saying last night that this attack from Israel was limited in scope. I'd say that is accurate. We also know that that the United States apparently was informed by Israel prior to this happening, but the United States is saying they had nothing to do with this, and they said they would have nothing to do with any kind of an offensive against Iran, but they would continue to defend Israel. So here's video from the scene following airstrikes in Babylon. This says this is 12 minutes ago. I'll run it here. There's the Kalsu base of the Iran-backed Babylon 50th PMF Brigade. So if that's true, well, you can see that there was some sort of a strike there. More footage showing fires in Babylon Governorate in Iraq 3 minutes ago. So is this new, this fresh? Yeah. I haven't seen this before. It looks like this might be new. Large explosion south of Baghdad 2 minutes ago, possibly targeting Iran-backed base. Reports of unknown airstrikes targeting Iran-backed terrorists south of Baghdad. Reports indicate that Khatib Babylon 50th PMF Brigade in particular was struck. This is another one 25 minutes ago. And you're getting a lot of the propaganda on both sides. And this is 7 minutes ago. It says, breaking: Israel and the U.S. allegedly just bombed the Babylon-governed Iraq. Highly likely it was the U.S. government, but there is potential it could be linked to Israel retaliating against Iran. And I got to take all this with a grain of salt. This is on Twitter, and it is highly unreliable. So you get a lot of stuff on there that is true, but I don't know. Take all this with a grain of salt. Iraq explosions, and I'm just reading this stuff, okay? Explosions and significant fire reported in the area of the base of Iran-backed Popular Mobilization Forces PMF south of Baghdad tonight. Video shows there were secondary explosions indicating possible ammunition detonation. So we're in Iraq here, and this is the thing. Last night there were reports that Israel had struck not just Iran, but Syria and Iraq as well. And I was not really successful in confirming any of the information in those other countries. So you're seeing this footage here tonight, all new. And I just went here, did this just now. The video captures an unidentified attack on a Popular Mobilization Forces base in Babel, south of Baghdad. So yeah, this is all Iraq, apparently. And there's a fire, obviously some sort of explosion. Another one, breaking: Israeli and American warplanes are burning the headquarters of Iran-backed militias tonight. Interesting. And disturbing, to say the least. Large explosion south of Baghdad. Same footage, different post. Oh my God. We're not going to look at that. We're going to just scroll right by it. Because we are on YouTube. I stand with Iran. I stand with Palestine. What about you? This is Zara. And you had a lot of saber rattling going on. President Putin's official response to Israel asking him to condemn Iran, from a poster who uses the handle Haz al-Din. Pro-Russian poster. He's got the Russian flag on his Twitter account. And we will go there. Mohammed Safdar. The Iranian president laughs at Israel after today's attack. We are fighting a war of wills, and Iran has won and will continue to achieve victories, it says. The true promise reflected our strength, the iron will of our people, and our unity, all segments of the people. Funny how all governments, it seems, regardless of their political leanings, always use phrases like the people and freedom. Yeah. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I've asked many times, what does freedom really mean to you? It's a phrase that is thrown around by everyone, and it's just gotten to the point where I think people don't even understand what freedom means anymore. Iran will defeat Zionism, it says. And yes, yesterday Russia did walk out of the UN Security Council, just as Israel was about to speak on the issue of whether Palestine should be admitted, given full membership in the UN. Here, let's take a look at that.
Thank you very much.
I thank the Permanent Observer of the Observer State of Palestine, the Permanent Observer of the Observer State of Palestine for his statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Israel.
And you saw the Russian delegation get up and walk out just
Thank
prior
you,
to this.
Madam President. Madam President,
And then
I wish to begin by thanking the United States.
Israel provided its... Began their statement. And then there was this. This really disturbed me. Because this guy has a large following. He's not just an influencer, he's a politician. And I have to say, I don't agree with him. George Galloway. The great George Galloway! I know everything! I'm all wise and all knowing. This guy he wants more nuclear weapons for the world, apparently. Just what we need, right? He wants Iran to have nuclear weapons because this guy is absolutely pro-Iran all the way, anti-West. Make no mistake about it.
I think that Iran has been extraordinarily patient, more patient than I would be, for example. I've said this for a decade. Iran refuses to acquire a nuclear weapon.
They refuse!
Although
They won't want it!
Evidently, scientifically,
They could do it, but they won't do it!
Could do so probably very quickly indeed, but it refuses to have one.
Or they refuse, they don't want it at all.
At least the last 15 years.
Yes!
Iran, if I was running Iran, I would definitely get myself a nuclear weapon. Because
Great
Iran
idea!
is confronted by countries that all have nuclear weapons.
Let's blow them all up!
Why should Iran be vulnerable to
Yes,
the
nuke them!
ultimate
Blow them to bits!
military attack?
Wipe
They
them off the
require
face of the
a
planet.
deterrent like we have.
Yes!
in Britain. That's the case for the British bomb, isn't it? That
Yes.
it's a deterrent.
It's a great
Well,
idea.
if
Let's
it's a
give more
deterrent
bombs
for
to everyone.
Why would it not be a deterrent for Iran?
Let's
I think
complicate
you're
the
right
hell out of the
that
geopolitical
it,
situation.
Would be.
Yes, because there just aren't enough nukes in the world. Let's get more! Yeah. How many peace rallies has that guy been to? You think he really means it when he's called for peace in the past? I look at a lot of these people who, these peace activists who are out in the streets right now rattling their sabers. The guy wants more nukes. Wants to give Iran nuclear weapons. I think we've got enough, honestly, and it's complicated enough. That's my opinion. Be a whole lot better off if we didn't have them at all, frankly, but I don't know how you turn back history and correct the mistakes of the past. Things were simpler when you had two countries, two superpowers facing mutually assured destruction. At least you knew where you stood. Now you have multiple countries with the bomb. Let's get the bomb. If I was running Iran, I'd get the bomb right away. Of course you would. Maybe George Galloway should run for office in Iran. I think he'd be more at home there. The great George Galloway. The great indoctrinator. Yeah. No thanks. I'll pass. I've seen some other prominent influencers saying they agree with him. Iran should have the bomb. Yeah. We'll just nuke him! That'll solve everything! Moron. Jesus. Psychopath. That's what he is. Yeah, it's bad enough. We've got enough psychopaths with enough freaking weapons, enough nuclear bombs. Look at where we're at. We're on the verge of global nuclear annihilation, and this moron wants to give the bomb to another country. We've already got too much damn destabilization in there now because Russia just gave hypersonic technology to Iran, which has destabilized everything further. But not as much, I think, as some people might believe. Because even though the United States theoretically is behind in the development of the technology, I showed you that Mako hypersonic missile that the United States has, reported to fly at least Mach 5. Russian sources saying that it might just be a lot of hype, that it might not even be truly hypersonic. But you know, there's a whole lot of propaganda and misinformation that surrounds these kinds of weapons, and countries don't always put the true information out there about their full capabilities. And I've received other information about that weapon in the last 24 hours to suggest that it might do a whole lot more than just Mach 5. And it can be launched. They've figured out how to launch it from F-35s, other fighter jets, and they might even be able to equip Ukraine. The Soviet-made fighter jets that they have might even be able to mount the things on those planes as well. The arms race is on, man. We're into a new arms race, and not all the information out in the public is accurate. And now we're seeing people like George Galloway and Jackson Hinkle and others calling for the expansion. Let's get nuclear weapons to more countries. That is like foreshadowing. That's what that is. That's a prelude of things to come, I think. That's not an accident, them saying this. They're in the loop, and they're on the Iranian side, the Russian side, and I think that they probably have information to suggest that Iran probably already has the bomb, or they're very close to having it. But they don't really want it. They could have had it, but they're such nice people. They just didn't do it. They just didn't finish developing it. Yeah. Oh, they want it. If they don't already have it, they want it in the worst way. Because it is the great equalizer, right? You have the bomb. Now you're a superpower too. Now they really have to take you seriously. They have to listen, don't they, when you go to the table. It gets you a place at the table with the big boys. Oh yeah, they want it. I used to joke about it. You know, I used to make jokes with people. I'd say, we have to get our own country. Let's buy an island and we'll set up our own country. And the first thing we have to do is get the bomb. It's just a joke because it's so insane. I'll tell you this, you know what happens if they get the bomb? They become a target too. An even bigger target than they are now, but sort of a deterrent. Now I have to say that what we saw overnight, it was limited in scope. No question about it. It does appear as though there may have been at least one missile that got through. That was reported by BBC and CBS. And even now, after all this time, I can't be sure of anything. Because last night was also a big psyop. It was a huge PR campaign. You couldn't tell what was real. You still can't tell what's real. The whole war, frankly, could just be a movie. Because we're all just watching it online. Now, I don't think that's the case, so don't get your mind all twisted out of shape. But they literally could do that. You can create a whole fake war and just feed it to people online. And unless you actually go to the place physically to see it happening, they could tell you anything. They can be telling us anything. And we got really two hugely different stories last night. On the one side, Iran reporting, telling us that, the Israelis, all they did was launch a bunch of consumer quality drones at us. We shot 3 drones down. There's nothing wrong here. It's all peaceful. Nothing happened. No damage at all. On the other side, I was hearing and I saw many reports from what should be credible news sources online saying that It was a massive strike, massive damage being inflicted on Iran, and that wasn't true either. And then over time, it became apparent that what we were really dealing with here was a very limited strike involving mostly drones, possibly a missile or two or three, maybe one that got through. And even now, I can't even 100% be sure, honestly, folks, if the missile strike really did happen. But it does appear there was some damage inside Iran. And the Iranians are taunting. They've been online laughing at Israel. I have to say that what happened last night, I would say, was really smart on the Israeli side, politically and militarily, strategically, because to do nothing would be a sign of weakness. And I'm just assessing this for you, trying to be as objective as possible without cheerleading for either side. But what I saw last night was a very, very limited response. It was a large-scale response on the PR side. It allowed the media, the pro-Israeli media, and even just media that, is being sucked in with Israeli information warfare, to just report that Israel struck back at Iran. So that's the headline. And if you then got into the initial reports, it sounded like it was, fairly large. But then as the night wore on, you could see that it was limited in scope. But the vast majority of people, especially in the West, who view this war the way they view all wars, like a sporting event, they're just looking for the score. And they tuned in last night online and on through mainstream media, television, cable news network, and they saw that Israel had struck back at Iran. Okay, so now Israel has saved face. They can say that they hit Iran back, but they knew that Iran was saying, if you hit us with any kind of retaliatory strike, we will respond with devastating force. So what happened here? It was very limited on purpose. The United States made it clear to Israel as well. You do this, you're on your own. But Netanyahu, Israel as a country, the people in charge there obviously felt that they needed to do something because they could not sit back from a position of weakness. So really, this was the proper response, the smartest response, and the first sign of any wisdom I've seen since October 7th from either Israel or the United States. The limited response is being interpreted by the mainstream media and, even pundits as being just Israel trying to save face. But it's more than that, you see. As I said, and this is my assessment, October 7th, Hamas knew that would generate a response. And I believe that based on the ideology that they have, the track record, the way that they conduct warfare, they were counting on the response that they got. And my good friend John out there, I'm sure that, he's just going to call up given the next opportunity to just talk about things from an emotional perspective. But they were counting on that so that they could martyr all of the people who have been killed. Each one of the civilians, every child killed in the conflict has been weaponized through the information war, through information warfare. It's the it's the PR game of victimhood. You win by losing, and we've seen the effects of that. This is just my assessment. You don't have to agree with me, but please don't hate me. A lot of people hating me these days. A lot of hate going around all the way around. Seems like everybody's hating everybody. I'm not alone. So what happened with this is you had this strike against the embassy in Syria. Was Israel responsible for it? You can decide one way or the other, but you could argue that it was a false flag. Who knows? In any event, you get Iran attacking Israel with this massive, it was massive, a massive drone attack and a hypersonic missile, just to show that, yeah, we have the ability to destabilize things here with this new technology, and indeed they have. But don't you dare hit us. So what I saw going on was, at that point, a game of punch buggy. You ever play punch buggy when you're a kid? And I don't think it's unfair to characterize this in these terms, because it's also juvenile. High stakes and deadly. But it's like punch buggy. Every time you go down the road, when you were a kid, you'd punch your brother or sister in the arm or your friend. Punch buggy when you saw a Volkswagen Bug. And then there was the punch buggy, no punchbacks. Punch buggy, no punchbacks. That's what was going on after that big, I think after each tit for tat, it's been punch buggy, no punchbacks. Don't hit us back, not fair. And then when you get hit back, you go, oh, Mom, John hit me and I said no punchbacks. I don't mean to make light of this, but that's really what it comes down to. Because it's also childish. It is immature. The world's run by psychopaths. So anyway, punch buggy, no punchbacks, right? Well, so Iran hits back after the embassy strike, and then they say, punch buggy, no punchbacks. If you strike us, we'll wipe you off the face of the earth. We have the technology to do it. We used old weapons. We're so powerful. We're so strong. I saw a lot of posts like that. We just used our old technology. We've got way more sophisticated stuff, newer stuff, which may or may not be true. Scare the hell out of your enemy, right? Don't you dare punch us back after we punch buggied you, because if you do, we're going to launch a big one, even bigger than the big one we launched before. We'll really punch you. So what did Israel do? They waited a few days, assessed things, looked at the technology, I think. And Iran threatening also to target Israel's nuclear facilities. And then what did we see last night in the rhetoric and the PR and the propaganda from the Israeli side and the U.S. side, if indeed it is propaganda, and I believe it probably was, we're seeing that they were targeting Iran's nuclear facilities with this strike. Very little, if anything, got through. It seemed to be very focused. Truly was limited in scope. And it's not tit for tat. That's not what that was last night. It wasn't even really a full attack. Do you know what last night was, in my view? It was a love tap. It was a very firm. It was a saving face thing politically, that's for sure. It was a light punchback, on purpose. A very light punchback, on purpose. Because they don't really want more escalation. The U.S. certainly doesn't want it. There's a lot of gray area here. It's not clear who has what technology at this point. We are in the middle of a situation where, this side, does the U.S. really have a hypersonic missile? Could they use it? Do they have the ability to shoot these hypersonic missiles coming from Iran down, or the ones from Russia, China? That isn't really clear either. We've seen some indication that there might be some defense against it, but it's not really clear. It looks like these things can probably get through, as was demonstrated in that massive attack from Iran against Israel. So it's just a love tap. It's like, and it gives Netanyahu and Israel something to show the world and their people at home who are demanding a response. That gives them something to show on the aggressive side. That yeah, we're not weak. We do have the ability to defend and even go on the offensive here and deal with this. So it does allow them to save face, but it's more. The response from Iran has been a big ha ha ha. You guys suck. You can't touch us. We launched this massive attack against you, and your response is weak. Incredibly weak. That's a mistake. That is a big mistake. They, when I say they, I mean Iran. They, if they are interpreting it that way, they're now falling into the trap. Because, see, if Israel went in there hard last night, that would look like they would be saying, screw you, USA. We're not listening to you. We don't have to listen to anybody. We're just going to bomb these guys. And then they would lose any remaining support from the international community that might be there, because it would be seen as reckless and careless. But what they did last night is they just poked Iran. They didn't really attack them. They just poked them. And now they're seen as like, okay, well, they struck back. Not a really big deal. Now we'll move on. See? No devastating effects. Didn't really hurt Iran last night. But it was enough. It was poking them. It was just like, okay, okay, Johnny, you just punch buggied me, and you said no punchbacks, so I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to haul off and hit you hard. I'm just going to punch buggy you just really lightly. What are you going to do now, Johnny? Is it worth it to you to complain to Mom and punch me back really hard? And whose side is Mom going to be on? Because all I did was just do that. See? And then you're punching me hard again. It's stupid, it's juvenile, but I think it's true. So you poke Iran now. All you did was poke him. Is that worth escalating with another massive attack because you got just poked a little bit? And how you going to look on the world stage if you respond to a poke with an attempt to now wipe Israel off the map? That's why you're seeing these taunts online with all these influencers going on and on and on about how evil Iran or Israel is, and how they're weak. There's a whole lot of testosterone flowing, is what I'm seeing. That's sort of the point. It's like, come on, man, you suck. Come on, pussy. That's what it is. It's It's ridiculous. But I fear that just shows me that that's really what Iran was hoping for here anyway. They were hoping that Israel would strike them back. They want to fight. They're ready, and they're itching for it. They're trigger happy. And I know that there are people in Israel who are as well. But if you get the response from Iran at this point, well, it's going to escalate. Now, the other thing is, complicating all of this is what we're seeing going on right now tonight. So if these reports of additional attacks inside Iraq are true, and I'm seeing reports here just saying as well that there might be attacks inside Lebanon, now things get even more complicated, don't they? And here's 20 minutes ago, breaking massive fires in Baghdad after American bombing. Bring it up. There it is. And is it American bombing? I don't know. This is just spiraling out of control. I don't know. Let's take a little break. I'm going to search for some other information here. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll see if we can bring you up to date. Don't go away.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, so just to reinforce what I've been saying, right now also I can tell you there's no confirmation on any of those attacks, any of that video that I've shown you of these apparent attacks in Iraq and Lebanon. I'm not seeing anything else out there about this yet at all. So anything that I've shown you, again, take that all with a grain of salt. I don't know if any of that is true. Any of it. I don't see any other reports coming out from any place to confirm any of that. So I will try to stay on top of it for you. But to further illustrate my point and to support my assessment, my arguments here about what happened overnight, what are we seeing today? We're seeing the U.S. and Israel go radio silent on that strike against Iran. Here's a report to reinforce what I've been saying. And I didn't see this until just now. Hours after, a senior U.S. official, this is ABC. This is the news outlet that really got the ball rolling last night with all of the major coverage saying that there was this substantial offensive taking place against Iran by Israel. And now tonight, we've shifted to hours after a senior U.S. official told ABC News that Israeli fighter aircraft struck an air defense radar site inside Iran. Top U.S. and Israeli officials on Friday declined to publicly acknowledge the incident in an apparent move aimed at de-escalating the situation and keeping Iran from retaliating. The radio silence was notable after weeks of U.S. officials publicly urging Israel to show restraint. At the end of a G7 foreign ministers meeting in Capri, Italy, Secretary of State Antony Blinken was asked why he wouldn't address what happened overnight. The reporter also asked, "Isn't it important that you do so? Can you tell us if you've spoken to your Israeli counterparts?" Blinken replied, quote, "I'm going to be incredibly boring and not make your day by saying again, I'm not going to speak to what's being reported other than to say that the United States has not been involved in any offensive operations. The United States, along with our partners, will continue to work for de-escalation." And they are confirming here that the United States was informed last minute. No involvement on the part of the U.S. It was simply information which was provided, according to U.S. officials. And that's as far as it's gone. Israel also kind of mum on this, and I think that's wise. Now, on the other side, this is NBC reporting that Iran will not retaliate because of what happened, which is wise. Wise. I'm glad we're getting a little bit of wisdom here on both sides. Here's Iran's foreign minister on NBC News. Let's hear what he has to say. And I have not vetted this, but we'll find out what it is.
You attacked Israel. You telegraphed that attack. You let other Arab nations know this was happening. Did anyone, any other country, tell Iran last night this attack was coming?
What happened last night was not a strike.
But did any other country tell you something was happening and they were going to invade your airspace and attack possibly one of your bases?
Two or three, very. they're like more like toys that our children play with, not drones. It was not worth telling us before it happened.
See? That's what I said. That's been the response so far, but they're laughing and mocking Israel. Oh, they're like toys. They're like toys. Just ask the great Judge Galloway. Israel's got toys. You just should nuke them. Let's get the bomb and give it to Iran so they can nuke the Jews. Not me. That's an editorial. No wisdom there. None. But a whole lot of anger and hate. That's for sure. Anyway, like I said, and you heard it right from the foreign minister from Iran, it wasn't really a strike. It wasn't. It was just a poke. That was a firm middle finger. They need to interpret it that way too. A firm middle finger. It's like, we'll poke you. Politically, Israel is kind of hogtied right now because of where they're at in the court of public opinion internationally. So, just a love tap, just a poke. Gives Netanyahu the ability to save face without taking it to a level where it became any kind of a real threat to Iran at all. They get to then in turn laugh at Israel. Ha ha ha, you guys can't touch us. You do not have the technology or the means, the capabilities, or the weapons to do it. They can sell that to their people on their side, and everybody de-escalates. Fortunately, that's the way Iran is looking at it tonight, and they're pulling back. But I think they also understand that it wasn't really a strike. If Israel had really wanted to strike, they would have. They would have used real weapons, and there would have been a real volley and a real assault. And it would have looked a whole lot different this morning. But don't misinterpret it. Iran better not misinterpret it. There's a whole lot of firepower there on the Israeli and Western side. They got poked. If Iran escalates, if they push back hard at any point, they'll find out. This is not that simple. It's not like one side has a major advantage over the other. It'll get deadly and messy really quick. So I hope cooler heads prevail, because I just like to see the death stop on all sides. That's just my position. And it's just too bad people can't, after all this time, figure out how to live together instead of being at each other's throats, playing this dangerous game of chicken. Don't go away.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And we're back. Let me see what else we have for you here tonight. Yeah, just before we get into this stuff with the guy who set himself on fire, I just came across this and I just thought this was telling. Joe Biden went to a fast food restaurant. Trump has done that from time to time. And this is being labeled a tale of two campaigns. Look at the difference in the approaches between the two presidents. This is Joe Biden at a fast food place who orders a milkshake for himself. Trump handled things a whole lot differently. Watch this. This is first Biden.
This for you, sir. All right, and this is a tip for you. I know it's all been paid.
Thank you so much. We have milkshakes, we have refreshers.
How
We
about,
also
how
have
about a milkshake? Black and white.
a black and white milkshake. We could perfectly make that for you, sir. So if you would actually like to, right over there where it says order here, you can order it to your specification again. That includes whipped cream and other toppings as well.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Mr. President, I'm gonna pick up a few pounds here.
And don't forget, we also included drinks for you as well, just to enjoy.
Excellent.
We can take that box. You take that box? I'm gonna go order a milkshake.
Look at the way you hold. You like
And here's
that,
Trump.
Right? I think that's very nice. Have a good time. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. So we'll order 30 milkshakes. We'll give them out to the people and we'll take some for ourselves. Okay? Good. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello.
This has got a great American franchise, Chick-fil-A.
It is. It's a great franchise. The owner is a great man who's a member of one of my clubs, and he's fantastic. And yeah, they do very well. They're closed on Sunday.
The Lord's Chicken.
That's the Lord's Chicken. You're right. It's good.
Chick-fil-A.
chicken.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Get ready for a milkshake. You got plenty of them.
All right.
You got plenty of good looking guys.
This is an original from 2016.
Oh, I love this guy. I like that guy. Do you have a pen for me? Give me a good pen. That is the original, huh?
From 2016, Cleveland.
You've been there from the beginning.
Absolutely. From the invention.
You knew what was happening.
Absolutely.
You got it. That's cool, man. What's your name?
Lawrence.
Okay, Lawrence, let me get this pen out of here. Come here.
It's a pleasure.
That's all. Thank you. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody.
How you doing, Trump?
I'm doing good.
I love you, man.
I'm well. Everybody having a good
Sure has a different feel to it, doesn't it? He's in there like, who is the president of the people, really? And I look at that, it's very telling. You know, the people don't even gather around Biden, but they just cling to Trump. He just sucks the oxygen out of the room, and he has there's a charisma about him. There's no doubt about it. Amazing stuff. I don't know how the election is going to turn out, but it's quite clear that of the two, Trump has got to be more popular. AI. I guess now Facebook has baked AI directly into Facebook and Instagram. And if you want out, too bad for you. If you're going to use their platform, I guess there's no way to turn it off. Yeah. Let me see if I can get my notes on that. And I just had somebody message me just before we went live here tonight, expressing concern about this very story. Let me see here. Meta AI assistant comes to WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, but you can't turn it off. Apparently. Here's, I know this is going to be of real concern to a lot of people. Now, I'm not even on Facebook anymore, really, since being banned for life. We'll see how that goes. You can't turn off Meta AI on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp. See, here's the headline. This is on a site called Lifehacker. Other media outlets picking up this story as well. Generative AI is an exciting, powerful, controversial new technology, and if Mark Zuckerberg is anything to go by, it's not going away anytime soon. If you use any of Meta's mobile apps, including Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, or WhatsApp, you've probably already noticed the new Meta AI integration freshly embedded into them as of late. It's all part of a new rollout for Meta AI's latest large language model, Llama 3. But while Llama 3 is more powerful than prior versions, these new buttons and prompts make it harder than ever to ignore. So what is it? It says here that first, Know Thine Enemy, Meta's AI assistant, has actually been around since September 2023, but the most recent update puts it directly in the search boxes and sometimes even feeds of apps, including Facebook and Instagram. The integration is a little different from app to app, but in general, clicking on the search box or sometimes chat button in a Meta app will now show an iridescent rainbow circle with a prompt next to it saying, "Ask Meta AI anything." If you take Meta up on the offer, you'll be able to have Meta AI answer writing or image generation prompts, which are classic AI assistant features. The app will even give you a few suggestions. With Llama 3, it can also now generate GIFs and return real-time search results from either Google or Bing. The problem with these functions is that they're mixed in with non-AI features, so it can be a little confusing to tell them apart. And then they go on to talk about how to disable AI, or if you can't, at least how to ignore it. So they talk about disabling it here. It says, don't panic, your regular search function hasn't gone away. Search for a friend's name or a specific event or even New York Yankees fans, and you'll get the same results you always have. The difference is that mixed in with those results, you'll also now get AI-powered suggestion searches indicated by the Meta AI logo to their left. But also seeing reports here tonight saying that even if you're trying to turn this off, you can't really fully remove it from the Facebook app. So it's always going to be there in the background somehow. And they give you some tips here in this article on how to disable it, but looks like not going to be quite that simple. So we'll keep an eye on that too. I know that's a concern, the same way that people are worried about digital currencies and so on. Central bank digital currencies, people also worried about AI and social media to begin with. And now with this, additional concerns. Let me see, what else do we have for you this evening before we get on to this in-depth look at the man who set himself on fire outside the Trump trial. I think we're just about ready to flip over and go straight to Rumble so that we can speak freely about this story. Indeed, yeah, just one other story here before we move over, and that is this story about, believe it or not, car theft in Canada. It has been in the spotlight for the past few months because it has become such a huge problem. Cars being stolen, especially in major cities like Toronto and Montreal, and then these stolen vehicles by the train car full are being shipped overseas to other countries where they're either being sold outright or chopped into parts, chop shop style, and then sold off. But huge volumes of cars being stolen in the GTA, Montreal, other major Canadian cities, and then being shipped out of country by organized crime. And now we're seeing today at this news conference with police out of Montreal saying that kids as young as 15 years old are being recruited to steal cars so they can be shipped overseas. In some cases, police are saying the youths are tortured if things go wrong. That's according to Yannick Desmarais, a commander with the Montreal Police Service. And this all coming out at this federal inquiry into the growing problem of car thefts in Canada. Police say there is a link between car theft and armed violence, emphasizing that it is not a victimless crime. And police are having a very hard time dealing with it. And then we saw, I believe it was, I don't remember which police service it was now, Toronto? Yeah, I believe Toronto, saying that the one officer, the public relations officer, saying, you should leave your car keys in the front hall of your home by the front door in plain view so that if your car is targeted, you won't put yourself at risk. The thief can just come into your house and take the keys and then make off with your vehicle. And that enraged a lot of people. Got some people very upset for obvious reasons. It's like you just giving up. You don't even want to defend people's property anymore. It's like if the car thieves show up, just let them have it. Let them take your car. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me see if I've got the clip of the police officer speaking to this today, this use of youths. I'm not sure if we do or not. No, I don't think we've got the clip of him, so sorry about that. Nevertheless, you've got the idea, you got the information, so it's an ongoing story. Anything else to add here tonight, folks, on the Israel-Iran front? No, I don't think so. I think we've got it covered adequately here. It was pretty scary stuff last night to see what was going down. A lot of people thought, World War III, here we come. Like for real. But it became pretty clear after a while that it was not a full-scale attack. It was a poke. And thank God for that, and thank God that we're now hearing Iran is not going to retaliate for the poke. So let's just hope that it doesn't escalate, because the next thing you know, they might take Judge Galloway up on his great idea and let Iran have the nuclear bomb. Psycho. Jeez. What a psycho. Did I play the clip? Doesn't matter. I shouldn't give him the airtime. All right, folks, let's go over to Rumble, and we're going to talk about this story about the guy who set himself on fire. I'll tell you everything I know, and I'll give you the latest information as well, new information, on a young man, apparently a student, or a person, I should say a person, who set themselves on fire outside Red Deer Polytechnic in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, this past weekend. Share that with you as well when we come back on the other side of this. And you know what I'll do is once again give you the link in the chat so you can go over to the Rumble channel. And there it is again. That's the link directly to the Rumble channel. So join us over there in a few minutes if you're not there already. Click, click, click on that link and we'll see you on the other side. Do not go away. I will return.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Fighting the Great Reset by leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
Okay. Time to sign off from YouTube. Love you, YouTube, but can't hang around because we're going to talk about stuff you don't like so. See you guys over on Rumble. I know we're going to lose a lot of viewers here, but sorry, just nothing else we can do about it. Censorship days upon us. Okay, here we go. Leaving YouTube, heading over to Rumble. If you want the inside scoop, and I've got some information on this story that you're probably not going to see elsewhere. You got to go over there. So goodbye, YouTube 1. Here we go. And signing off of YouTube 2.